Welcome to the Preacher's Kitchen. I know I've been kind of slow on writing blogs to post on here, but I decided today I'll try something new and I'll take you into the Preacher's Kitchen. Of course, what I refer to as the Preacher's Kitchen is the kitchen here in our multi-purpose fellowship room where my office is. As you pan around, you see we got a pretty decent little kitchen here that I can cook meals, and the thing that I use the most, as you see in the background, is our coffee pot. Pretty well everybody knows that when they come into my office here, there's always a pot of coffee that is ready to go. If it's not in the pot itself, it's in the pump here. And one thing I like about that pump is I can take a pot of coffee and I can put it in there, and usually it lasts all day. Matter of fact, I made a pot last night, put it in there, and I've had hot coffee this morning. But how many of us have ever walked up to a thermos of coffee or a pot that has been turned off, and we thought that we had a good cup of hot coffee, and we take a sip of it, and it's cold. It's room temperature. That just makes us want to spit it out, doesn't it? Start gagging. Now, many of us can drink cold coffee. We can drink coffee that has ice in it, or that has been in the refrigerator and become cold. I know I like the Starbucks Frappuccinos from time to time, although they're a little fattening and I don't get to enjoy them as much as what I'd like. But not very many people like a cup of lukewarm or room temperature coffee. And when I think about the lukewarm or room temperature coffee, I think about the words of Christ unto the Laodiceans in Revelation the 3rd chapter. And Christ told the Laodiceans how that they were neither cold nor hot, but instead they were lukewarm, and because of that, he will spew them out of his mouth. Now Christ wants us to be hot. He wants us to have a burning fire. He doesn't want us to be lukewarm Christians, but instead he wants us to be the type of Christians that do everything that we can to be pleasing unto him. He goes on there in Luke the 13th chapter and talking about the Laodiceans, and he talks about how that they have become content with the way that things are. Friends, we should never become content, especially with our Christianity. We should be striving and working every day, from day to day, making our lives better Christians. We should never be content with what we have or what we are. I used to have a preacher when I worked at the funeral home. There was a friend of mine, and he would stop by the funeral home every so often, and he'd ask me on Monday mornings, he'll say, "Did you preach your best sermon yesterday?" Oftentimes I would answer him and say, "Yes, I did." But then he would answer me back and tell me, he said, "No." He said, "You should not have preached your best sermon yesterday. Your best sermon should be the one that you preach next week." And his idea, and that has stuck with me now for 30 years just about, and his idea has been, I can always improve. I can always do better. I've never reached the point that I can be content. You know, even after 30 years of preaching now, I still think about that and think that there are ways that I can improve. There are ways that I can do better. Not just as a preacher, but as a Christian, and in every aspect of our lives. Friends, that's what Christ wants. He doesn't want us to be lukewarm. He doesn't want us to be content. He wants us to be constantly improving and doing better. I'm glad you joined me today in the Preacher's Kitchen. And I hope that you'll come back and join me. As I say, in the Preacher's Kitchen, there's always a pot of coffee and the bread of life is always being served. So come back and join us once again. Thank you.